I think we focus on the Lakers Nuggets just because what was at stake, and I had told you last year that I thought, last week, that I thought the Lakers would be more competitive this year than they were last year with the Nuggets. They kind of figured out how to guard them. They've gotten a little bit better, and the Nuggets, I don't think their bench is as good. And the Nuggets are a dominant team at home. I mean, dominant. So to have them down 20 at their place had to put the fear of God into the hearts of the Nuggets. But I want you to think about this for a second. You know, really think about it for a second. How would the world look today if the Lakers had closed that game out? Think about that. And what we do, and this is, I understand how sports work. I understand we all have ADD. We're always on to the next game, and it's not supposed to matter. But the reality is the Lakers are very unlikely to make this a 7-game series. It could. Okay? And let's say they lose in 5 or 6 or maybe even 4. You can sit there and go like, hey, games 3 and games 4, they weren't that close, so game 2 is the outlier. But when you have a team down 20 at their place and they don't ever lose at home and they can't figure out how to stop you, when they can't, okay, and you can't close them out, it feels like a loss and a half, as opposed to a win feels like a win and a half. Here's LeBron James talking about the officiating after the game.
I don't understand what's going on in the replay center, to be honest. I think I said it this year or last year or whatever. D-Lo clearly gets hit in the face on a drive. What the do we have a replay center? It's going to go. It doesn't make sense to me. It makes no sense to me. It bothers me. Sorry I didn't answer your question, but that is like. And then I just saw what happened with the Sixers Knicks game too. What are we doing?
And look, I get it. I'm against clearly blown calls. Okay? And the D'Angelo Russell one was a blown call. But I'd also tell you that there's something about this sport that you actually need real AAU to prepare you for. So this is kind of an interesting aside, at least to me. And if you guys don't follow or don't find it interesting, that's fine. But youth sports in our country have a tendency to get a bad rap. And some of it is accurate. Right? Basketball, especially because we have so many foreign players coming in and starring in, quote unquote, our game. Right? So it must be how we're teaching it. And on some levels, it is. We don't have enough practices. We have way too many games, and the games don't matter that much. Right? If you lose, you already have a schedule. Some of these circuits, you're playing 4 games in a weekend, regardless of how well you win or you lose or whatever, and you still get to advance. And if you lose in bracket play, you often get a consolation bracket and then another game. You're guaranteed a number of games. That's not how life works. But there is something to the flimsy officiating, full court pressure, hand-to-hand combat, because it's a weeding out process. Either you learn to win games that way, or you don't get to play in the big games in front of all of the college scouts, in front of all the now NBA scouts. You have to find a way to win those games. There's a tenacity and aggressiveness. There's a hand-to-hand combat to it. It's even LeBron James who complained. He drove in, he missed a layup, thought he got fouled late in the game. Like, hey, dude, dunk the ball. Dunk it. Even when you don't make your dunks or you get it blocked, oftentimes they call that a foul, especially when you're LeBron James. When you're the New York Knicks and you're taking on, or you're Philadelphia 76ers, you have to go and get the ball. And look, there's an art to it. They're holding your jersey. You have to knock their hands off and push off without getting called for a push off and get open and secure the ball and hold the ball as they're fouling the crap out of you trying to steal the ball. You have to do that. You learn that when you play AAU basketball. You learn that in 5th and 6th and 7th grade. If you can't do it, you will not play the high level AAU. And what I think you end up getting is you get dudes that are junkyard dogs, and at the end of these games, they just find a way to push, shove, and make plays. And look, if you go to the Sixers game, right, the Sixers are at the free throw line up 5, a chance to make it 6. And if you're a baseball fan, you know this to be true. Right? In baseball, all of those late inning rallies, anytime a closer comes in and clunks it up and blows a save, what almost always starts those innings? Almost always what starts those innings is when you walk the first batter. Right? You go back, and it doesn't matter. It was I'll bet I haven't even looked. I was doing a podcast, doing some other things. I haven't even looked, but I will guess that Mariano Rivera. Remember when he blew a save against the Arizona Diamondbacks was that 02 or 03?
01.
01 World Series?
Yep.
Somebody check that inning and see, did he walk the first batter? They almost always walk the first batter, right? That's how all of these rallies start. He walked the first batter. He can't walk the first batter. That's what happens. And in basketball, what inevitably happens when you have some great finisher, some great comeback, there's always like, well, you missed a free throw. They're up 5, up 6, still would have been a 2-possession game, but it's a completely different game if it's up 5 as opposed to up 6. Last thing. We had a lot of talk about women's basketball, the WNBA, and Caitlin Clark in the last 3 weeks. I want you to be honest. And this is even you, Sam. Is there any world where you would honestly rather watch a women's game than watch either of those 2 games last night? Sam?
Nope.
Okay. Let's if we're all going to be friends here, let's all be real here. We can say like, hey, I like watching Caitlin Clark play. Like, it's awesome. I love how she plays, whatever. Would you rather watch, and again, I would never watch, there's no college basketball game I'd rather watch than last night. Those are the best players in the world. They make crazy shots because they're crazy talented. Do they complain about the officiating? Yes. Is it grab and hold fest? Sure. But fans are into it. The skill level's incredible. The athleticism is incredible. The comebacks were remarkable. The whole thing was awesome. And so if anybody wants to go like, well, I don't watch the NBA, like, okay, so you missed the best of the best. Here's Anthony Davis last night after the game.
Can you take us through that last play and just what happened and what unfolded? What was, I don't know if you were screened or what happened on that last play?
Jamal Murray made a shot.
Jamal Murray made a shot and he did the Kobe mic drop? Look, Anthony Davis was awesome, and then he didn't get the ball in the fourth quarter. And that's not bad defense. That's why you have a mismatch of a guard on a big, where the only thing you can do when you have a guy that big is, try and out-quick him to the basket or out-quick him to a spot and then get to a step back. But they lost. When you have a 20-point lead, you lose not because of the runs you're giving up. You can't give up 3s as opposed to 2s, but you stop scoring. Stop executing offensively. You got to keep scoring. Got to find ways to keep getting points. And if you get to the free throw line, even better, because that lets you set your defense and catch your breath. But we all point to the defensive breakdowns, and Barkley and Kenny Smith, and they were talking about, why are you doubling Jokic late in the game? Now all of a sudden you're giving up 3-pointers. Those are fair, but the reality is, if you're up 20 and Anthony Davis stops getting the ball, stops getting shots, you stop scoring, that's why you lost a 20-point lead.